Hi, I'm Cory from Voyager. In today's video, I am addressing a common question we get when meeting with homeowners. What's the difference between Trex and TimberTech? Let's get started. So yes, here we are addressing the differences between Trex decking and TimberTech decking. It's a very common question we get when meeting with homeowners. We get the question all the time, what are the advantages, disadvantages of both, price point, and that sort of thing. I'll start with Trex. Everybody knows Trex. It's a national brand. TimberTech is a fantastic product as well. We wouldn't offer a product that we don't stand 100% behind, and we definitely love the heck out of both of these products. Trex has 4 different lines to choose from, starting with their Trex Enhance line. They've got the basics and the naturals. Not too big differences between the two, but I'll get into that. These are definitely our most popular because of the price point. These are entry level, the most cost effective, and then you get into the Trex Select and then Trex Transcend lines, which are more top tier lineups. The biggest differences and the questions that I get all the time is, if it's so much less expensive to go with the basics or the naturals, why not just stick with that if both boards hold up just fine? Well, the biggest difference on the lineup here, I've got a Trex Transcend compared to the Trex Basics, is you will see the bottoms of the boards. The Trex Enhance line, whether it's the basics or the naturals, has a scalloped bottom, so it's got the 6 little fingers at the bottom, so it's literally less product than if you're in the Select or the Transcend line, which is a full thickness board. Integrity is definitely higher on the Select line or the Transcend line due to just a simple fact, there's more material there, there's more product. Both of them have the hidden fastener system, so we actually have hidden fasteners that go into the joists where you won't see any of the screws at all. So it's a nice clean finish on top, no matter which one you choose, but the biggest price difference is due to just simply the material. There's missing material at the bottom of the less expensive Trex Enhance lines compared to the Select or the Transcend lines. The other biggest difference is the thickness of the cap. So on Trex, all of Trex boards, they have a 3-sided cap where the sides are capped and the tops. None of the bottoms in Trex are ever capped, which is the biggest difference between Trex and TimberTech, which I'll get into a little bit later. Also, what you're paying for, other than the board integrity and the thickness of the board, is that cap, the thickness of the cap. So in the lower tier lineup, it's a thinner shell. It's more prone to scratches if you've got bigger animals, bigger dogs, a lot of kids moving, heavy furniture or toys across it. Less expensive line will scratch more easily, whereas the Select and then eventually into the Transcend gets thicker and thicker with the capped shell on the top. So therefore, a lot more resistant to scratching, and it really top of the line for that scratch resistance. Also, fade and stain warranties. The Trex Enhance line up here, the basics and naturals both have a 25-year fade and stain warranty, which is fantastic. The boards will really last many, many more years beyond that, but they guarantee and they stand behind that the colors on these boards will not fade or stain if you drop anything on them for 25 years, whereas when you get into the Select, it's up to 35 years, and then into the Trex Transcend line, which is a 50-year fade and stain. So really is a lifetime board. So that is the biggest difference. You will see a big jump in price because of that, but like I said, you're getting a much thicker board with the Transcend, for example, and a thicker cap to the top of the board with the Transcend line as well. So similarly, getting into the TimberTech, some of the same things going on. As you see in more of the standard lineup here, they've got a Prime Plus collection and a Terrain collection, which are very similar to the Trex Enhance line, where they've got the fingers, again, on the bottoms of the board. So TimberTech uses 3 large fingers opposed to the 6 smaller fingers from Trex, but pretty much the same deal. They're taking out just as much product out of the bottom of their boards to save on shipping weight, shipping costs. They pass that on to the consumer. It's literally less material, so you're paying less in cost on that. The Prime Plus collection, as you see here, this more competes with the Trex lineup, where it's got a 3-sided cap to all the boards. The top and the sides are all capped, but not the bottoms. The bottoms is just an exposed composite, so just like in Trex, and it's got the thinnest shell on the top. still a very nice natural wood looking board. That's what I really do appreciate about TimberTech personally, is that the boards, even at the entry level price point, look very nice and natural, whereas you kind of need to pay a little bit more in Trex to get that more natural look, unfortunately. But then jumping right into, again, another scalloped board, and then into the TimberTech Terrain collection, now you're starting to get that fourth cap to the board, where the bottoms are capped, whereas none of the lineups in Trex offer that fourth cap on the bottom. If you've got a deck that's higher off the ground and has plenty of airflow underneath, you typically don't have to really worry about this. But if you have a lower deck, or if you're in a heavily wooded or shaded area in your backyard, or your deck is under a bunch of trees or doesn't see much sunlight, having that fourth cap on the bottom to really seal off all of the exposed composite is definitely a nice feature to have. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then when you're moving into the Reserve collection and then eventually into the Legacy collections, now you can see that we're into that full thickness board again, just like in the higher quality Trex lineups as well. So fuller thickness, better integrity, definitely a heavier board. You can literally feel the difference in weight between the scalloped and the full thickness board. It is a big difference, and a little bit thicker cap on top as well. You've got the Reserve collection here that's got a nice natural wood finish to it, real nice and durable. And then as you get into more of the upper tier, the Legacy collection, you've got a nice hand sanded finish, beveled top to the board, where you can't really see it on camera, but it really feels like a nice hand sanded natural feel to it. So really you are paying for the overall look and overall feel and finish to the top of the board as you work your way into the higher tier TimberTech. So very nice looking natural boards. Got multiple different colors, everything from light to natural to dark to a bunch of different colors, and it all depends on what exactly you're looking for your particular project. So finally, that brings us into really the upper tier of TimberTech, and it is the advanced PVC. Normally people associate this with AZEK, but AZEK owns TimberTech and vice versa. It's all the same company now. So the AZEK deck boards is really called TimberTech Advanced PVC, and that's what I've got here in this box. It's all pretty much the same look that you get across the board with the TimberTech PVC, other than color variation. But really the advantage to this is the TimberTech PVC. Let's pull out a couple boards here just to show you an example of what the actual thickness and board product looks like here. But the advantage you get, number one, is that it is cooler to the touch. So it really doesn't scorch your feet, your bare feet, as hot as you would with a composite board. So here's an example of the TimberTech Advanced PVC. It is a full thickness board. You've got the hidden fastener systems. You've got also boards that don't have the hidden fastener for more of that, like I said earlier in the video, more of that picture frame finish that we'd use this, and then on the stairs as well. So these are the PVC boards. Lighter, cooler on the feet, doesn't get as hot in the sun. They say 30% cooler. And the other advantage too is that it is a PVC product. So it is PVC all the way through. It is completely resistant to moisture and water. We usually see people build these sorts of deck boards around pools or around hot tubs or anywhere where it's just getting a lot of rain or moisture or a lot of shade. Then homeowners will typically decide to go with the full PVC line. One of the disadvantages of PVC, we do have to build a stronger frame at 12-inch on center with the PVC, because it is a lighter board and has more flex and bend to it. So the cost of building the framing underneath a PVC deck is a little bit more expensive, because everything is automatically built on that 12-inch on center frame opposed to 16-inch on center. So that is just one thing to keep in mind with the PVC line. Pulling out a couple of the other boards here, multiple different options, nice natural wood grain look, a couple different variations in the wood grain, but typically all the PVC boards generally look pretty close to the same. You're really paying that high-end price point for mainly the material that you'll know, peace of mind. It's got 50-year warranty on it, peace of mind that water won't ever be able to penetrate into it, especially if you're around, like I said, or like a pool or a hot tub or any place around the house where it's really going to be susceptible to water. So that is pretty much the main lineup between Trex and TimberTech, some of the main advantages and disadvantages. In conclusion, really it comes down to personal preference mainly. If you're looking for a four-sided cap board, where the bottoms are capped, like I said, in high moisture areas or in dense shade or out in the woods or the trees. I mean, TimberTech does offer that nice 4-sided cap with the bottoms of the boards capped off. It seals it off real nicely, where Trex doesn't offer that. But if you've got a standard deck where it's got some partial shade or sunlight during the day, or just a standard location for a deck around a home, then both products just comes down to mainly the overall look and the aesthetic you're looking for. The TimberTech lines are typically a little bit more expensive, a little pricier than the Trex lineup, but you kind of get what you pay for overall look. My personal preference, I really do love the natural look and all the different variations and tones and colors that TimberTech has to offer. Like I said, you're paying a little bit more for that versus Trex, but like I said, Trex does have their Naturals line here too. That is our most popular lineup in Trex, where you're getting boards that look more like the natural tones. They have some tone variation in the wood grain and looks more like a natural wood board that typically people like the look of. So Trex definitely has some great options as well. Typically what I like to say to homeowners when I visit their homes and do a walk around and draw out their deck layout and get down to eventually the materials and picking out colors, I typically just tell them, let me throw you an estimate for both products to compare the price point. If you like a couple options from either brand, I give them samples. Every time I give them the samples to keep so they can look at it and feel it and touch it and hold it and keep it close to their house so they can see how that compares with their home. And then in the meantime, that same day as the visit, our salespeople get them that estimates either right on the spot or a couple hours after the fact, so you can really see the price difference between the options right away and make a nice educated decision before making the final decision. I hope you all enjoyed the video today on some of the differences and pros and cons to Trex versus the TimberTech boards and what Voyager can do for you. Voyager, we really pride ourselves not only on build quality, the integrity of the build, the craftsmanship, but also our customer service. We really like to keep a clear line of communication between us and the homeowner from start to finish, before the project begins, during the project, and after the project, to make sure everybody is completely satisfied the entire time. So as always, if you have any questions, give us a call anytime. We can schedule an estimate for you and send somebody out your way to see what would work best for your situation. Have a great day.